Hello, and welcome to the Social Psychic Radio Show featuring Jason Zook. In uncertain times, we must change our focus and priorities. This show will highlight social justice issues with the goal of expanding minds and increasing unity, love, and mutual respect for ourselves and our planet. We support the Black Lives Matter movement. Our show aspires to promote social spirituality, which simply means that by coming together, we can solve any of our problems, including the goal of bringing an end to all forms of hate, discrimination, bias, or oppression. We must protect our environment, reform our criminal justice system, and protect every citizen from police brutality. When we come together, it becomes possible to bridge the gaps that plague our society and divide us from within. We the people means everyone.
Hello and welcome to the Social Psychic Radio Show. This is Jason Zook. It's a great pleasure that I have the opportunity of presenting Jesse Kalsi to the show today. No doubt you've heard about numerology, the study and influence of numbers on your life and destiny, but chances are you've never heard about astronumerology. That's because it's the discovery of our guest, a world-renowned counselor sought out by Hollywood and Bollywood stars, Silicon Valley billionaires, real estate moguls, entertainment companies, and people just like you. Jesse has discovered the interconnection between the planets and numbers. You can make certain assumptions about your optimum numbers that can be counter-influenced by a planet that isn't in alignment with the numbers you thought were favorable. But that's not just all. Jesse can predict positive or negative outcomes based on the numbers of your home address, your bank account, your cell phone number, the car you drive, the colors you wear, the partners you align with, the people, including lovers in your sphere, the investments you make, the months of the year that are favorable to you personally, the pet you own, and a host of other factors based on your numbers and how they match or conflict with these other elements in your life. A successful real estate broker by trade, Jesse is also a certified Federal Aviation Administration flight instructor and holds a commercial pilot's license. Born in India, where he has attended India's equivalent of West Point and intended to make a career in the Army, Jesse was informed of his true life purpose and resigned from the military to pursue helping people through his unique gifts, understandings, and perspective of numerology. He currently lives and works in California. Today, he's here to talk about his new book, All About Number, Attract Luck, Abundance, and Joy based on your numbers, everything you need to know about your personal numbers. It's a great pleasure. I welcome Jesse to the show. Welcome to the show, Jesse.
Hey, hi, Jason. I'm so excited to be here today.
I'm glad to have you here. And I wanted to ask you, how did you start getting involved in numerology?
Growing up in India, I had some very basic sense of numbers and numerology. The astronumerology and astrology is kind of very prevalent in that society. But then after I came to the United States in the early 90s, and most immigrants, I was faced with a lot of personal challenges. And then this I guess my intuition, my guides took me there to use whatever numerology I knew at that time to improve my life. And that's how I got started into it. I got deeper into it. And then with time, I just kept refining as I grew up here and I met more people, right? So that's how it all happened.
And I, as a psychic myself, I recognize similarity in numbers, but I don't use it to derive any information. I think it's such a gift if you can do that.
Yeah.
How did you first discover your gift?
It's very interesting. It was my intuition all the time. It's like my guides kept nudging me all the time, and I would disregard what was coming through every time because I felt that was not true, and I was supposed to follow a certain way or the way I was raised by my family, right? Very traditional in the Sikh religion, right? So I just used that sense, but then, like I said earlier, something kept nudging me in my life circumstances. Each time I faced a challenge, there was something else that came through, and then I started applying that to overcome those challenges, and that kept happening, with time. So that's how it all went. So I'll say it's my destiny, it's my karma. It had to come at some point, and it did. It came more strongly here in the United States when I arrived here. And then, but with time again, karmically, a lot of people kept coming, and I just kept. I think they were educating me. All my clients that I've met over the years, for the last 25, 30 years, I think they all educated me. I got deeper into this energy of numbers and numerology, and I was able to help them, and at the same time learn more. You see how people teach you too, right? So that happened, but I strongly believe in inner calling, the intuition, and then of course. So each time I look at numbers, Jason, I look at people call me all the time, and for some strange reason, I started doing their numbers. I also start hearing messages too. It's very, very, very weird, right? And I'll say things that they'll wonder, what you're doing our numbers, but you said something else, which is true, right? So it comes like that. It's kind of very interesting. And I'm trying to discover that, and I try to understand what exactly that is. Many tell me, oh, you're a psychic and you don't even know. I said, no, I just look at numbers only is what I do, and my focus is there only. So that's what it is.
I'm going to give you an example of a synchronicity in numbers I might ask you about just out of curiosity. So my mom always raised me knowing, and I looked at my birth certificate to verify this, that I was born at 10:18 at night on October 18th. And so my birth date and time match each other, right? And I've always wondered what that could even represent, but just a synchronicity of synchronicities. I don't know. Okay,
one more time. So you said 18th, October the 18th?
October 18th at 10:18 p.m. at night. Yeah, it's on my birth certificate. I never really understood it.
Yeah, a lot of so a lot of Mars is coming in October the 18th. October the 18th, September.
You might be able to settle a long-held riddle.
yeah, it's very interesting. So what happens is October. So what is the number outside your house?
The number of my house actually is interesting too, because it's 812. And that's actually that's the date my grandfather passed away, which is very important to me, and it's my nephew's birthday. Plus, it's my address.
And then the number is 812.
812.
Yeah, I think you could improve the 812. You could use it. See, what happens is what's corresponding is October, September, October. So the mild influence of Venus is there. Venus is the number 6. And number 6 with 18. So Jupiter, and so 3 and 3 plus 6. So Jupiter and Venus come kind of very strong, which is numbers 3s and 6 come very strong with you. And so 812 needs to be improved, right? Otherwise, with a place like this, 812 would, sometimes it gets on relationships and money as well. So more in your case, I'll say if you patch this energy with a number 3, which is your energy, Jupiter, a small number 3 in the end would shift it completely, and it'll completely pick up the vibration of the house very favorably. And it also says with that energy, so be careful driving. You're better prone to cuts, injuries, and accidents, and a little bit of that stuff. Sometimes relationship challenges might come in too, right? So just watch that. But then your name and stuff also has to be balanced correctly. But right at the top of my head, I'll say just get more Jupiter 3, and then you can also wear. So Venus is more 6. So Venus goes with diamonds really well. Venus also goes opal. Opal, that Australian opal is really good.
I collect crystals. I have a lot of crystals around me. I
beautiful,
like
opal's great.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful
crystal.
Beautiful.
I forget what this one's called, but I like it too.
Yeah, there's so many varieties. I see a white
rose quartz.
Oh yeah, rose quartz is beautiful too. Yeah, but I say try an opal. Try an opal around here, around your neck, right? It kind of opens up the crown more. Unlimited opportunities. And what's the color of your car?
Silver.
Silver's good. Silver is good. Yeah. So this is just one of those things. But your house definitely needs to be patched up. You add a little a smaller sticker, not very large, smaller than the existing numbers, so that it'll shift the energy on the door. Otherwise, I see a lot of 812s, and I'm sure there are a lot of intuitives I see who would much pick up the energy. So 8 and 9, and then to 11, right? So it's a master number. How long have you been living here?
2008.
Yeah. Put a number 3 there.
How do you do that?
You just put a small sticker, a small number 3 sticker, like a yellow or gold sticker. So all these numbers are vibrating, right? All energy is vibrating, this planet. So a little Jupiter energy by the end of the numbers, right, will shift the vibration, or it'll pick up stronger. But this year is going to be a good year for you. That is for sure.
I've been waiting for it. I think we've all been waiting for this year, right? Yeah. I think everyone's waiting for some change.
Yeah,
some positive.
Kind of move forward, right? It'll be very good for you. Excellent.
Thank you. Let me ask you this, because it's so interesting and fascinating for me to hear about this as like a modality of understanding and
Yeah.
clarity. Can you tell our audience what is your understanding of astronumerology?
So astronumerology is about the association of numbers and planets, right? So now we know that there are many schools of numerology. You know, we have a system, and the Chinese have a system, the Greeks had something, the Hebrews planned something, and then we have a system here in the North Americas. The Vedas have another system. So what the astronumerology is about associating, you know, numbers and planetary energy. So like we all know, basic numbers go from number 1 to number 9, and the rest kind of starts repeating. So say, for example, number 1 is more sun energy, 2 is moon, 3 is Jupiter, 4 Uranus, 5 is Mercury, 6 is Venus, 7 is Neptune, 8 is Saturn, and 9 is Mars. So that is how they are related, right? But then as the numbers keep adding up, you know, they get more confusing. I'll give you one quick example, right? Now, so you look at the number 4848, right? So you say, well, it's no, if I tell you, hey, Jason, you know, number 6 is a good number for you, and which is true, it is a good number for you. And I say, hey, Jesse, you know, I just found this one number, house number 4848, and you told me that number 6 is a good number for me. And then I just added it to 4848 is a 24 and a 6, and I just bought that house. So no, was that the right thing to do? No, because the 4 and the 8 and the 4 and 8, Uranus, Saturn, they're colliding energies. So whenever 4 and 8 come together, right, they're funneled down, they start sinking. So even though it is a number 6, but that it will not work for, you know, it'll just sink you right down in most cases. So that's how it goes, right? And say, for example, you say, hey, Jesse, I found a house number which is 51, you know, 51, and you told me number 6 is good for me. I said, yes, it is, but 5 and again is not very good, because when Mercury precedes Sun, 5 and 1, like Area 51 up here in the Nevada mountains, right? See, it brings in that energy, you know. But if it is a 1 and a 5, Sun comes before Mercury, it's different completely. You see how it changes.
And you could correct that by putting a number like a 3, a little 3 after my address on my door. I'm going to go do that this week.
No, 3 is for you, but not for everybody. No.
For me, I mean, yes.
Only for you, yeah. But
that's exciting. Will that bring greater harmony and balance in my house?
Of course. Oh, absolutely.
I love that. I'm here all the time right now. So that'll be beautiful.
It'll be really good. It'll be good for communication. It'll be good for more financial growth. It'll bring in many positive things. You watch it will. Absolutely will.
That's amazing. I want to ask you, what do you mean when you bring up different shades of numerology? What does that mean?
Oh, that's what I said earlier. Like, you know, we have a system, and the Vedas have a system, the Chinese have a system.
Oh, okay.
The Greeks, the Pythagoreans, and just different thoughts on numerology, right? So this is just another angle of looking at it. I mean, and then in this one, we use the Chaldean code, right? And there are many codes, you know, there's all kinds of codes and numbers and associations, letters and numbers. But in this one, the Chaldean code, which you can find that online, is no big deal. We just we go from number 1 to number 8, you know, and then there's association with those numbers and letters in there. So that's how it goes, right? And if you look at the Pythagorean code or the Chinese, they're different, all different, you know. But I've researched many, but this one is by far the most accurate. That's what I think, you know. Yeah, so.
Let me ask you this. How do you think, I totally understand when you describe the vibrational energy of numbers, because I believe that's also the same thing with things like crystals and use of meditation, other healing modalities. I believe
absolutely.
We're all connected with frequencies.
Yes.
And so when you look at my address, 812, how does that number, is that because that's the number identified here that we use to internally identify living here that makes it important?
Yes. So, you know what it is, see, the 812 has the energy of Saturn. 8 is Saturn, 1 is Sun, and 2 is Moon.
It's reversed, right? It's out of sorts.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's how it is, right? And then what happens, Jason, is this, that so I suggested a patch of number 3 based on your numbers only, but we'll have to consider everybody else in the house too, right? We look at their numbers as well, and then come with a neutral vibe, you know, which kind of works with everybody, right? So that's how we patch, and it's called number patching. It's my trademark. I've researched it. And I've used it for a long time, more than 20 years, the patching numbers around the world, you know. And so that's what we do. We basically shift, correct. And I mean, people consult you all the time. So what if I tell you your number's not good? So what? They know it's not good. So how do we fix it is the point, right? And so that's why when we use these numbers, we shift, correct. And then something will happen, right? So some correction comes, or a new opportunity comes. Or something will show up, right? It'll correct and it'll come to you, right? It'll be positive. So it'll align you in the right direction, you know. So that's how it's happening, and that's how I've seen it happen for many years.
It's interesting when you bring up vibration, because for me, vibration is something that I understand is a phenomenon of nature in the universe. And so let's say someone's listening to our audience right now and they hear us talk about these numbers and addresses and other ways that numbers are part of our lives. How would he or she be able to improve their own vibration after listening to us today?
Okay, so I have a couple of books out. The one that you have with you, All About Numbers, is my second book, and then I have another book which is Power of Home Numbers. So these books, they have a lot of information. This is about the second one is more about applied numerology. It's been applied, and I've given many examples of how it works. Now the thing is this is not a how-to book. You can't just pick it up and say, well, I read this book and I know it all. No, you would not know it all, but you have to know it a little better to say that you know it all, right? And because how much can you write in a book, really? You can just do what you can do. But there's a lot of information here, and then you learn a lot. And then if you do a little more research on you understand it deeper. But then what happens is still, look at correct people's names. If someone calls me, hey Jesse, look at my numbers. So we go quickly, check the basic code quickly, the best vibration where you live in. What's your name? If you have a business, with the business name, the business address, the colors on check everything quickly, right? And then we start fine tuning the energy around your basic code, like in your case, it's 3 and 6. In my case, is 3 and 9 is my code, right? So if I fine tune my name around that, if you look at this book, right, my name is Jesse Kalsi. If you look, it adds up to a number 27, which is my number. All About Numbers, the title of the book, it adds up to 54, which is again my number, right? So I've put everything around, my number, right? And then if you see the color I'm wearing, my turban and this, I just kind of like these colors more because they kind of pick me up. They're more root chakra frequency, right? And they kind of pick me up. It works better with me. So that's how these energies go, And then you mentioned crystals earlier. So what happens is, we numbers and crystals, and again, very, very important, right? Say, for example, if people you're struggling, you have power struggles, right? You feel you push down all the time, or people disregard you or disrespect you and things like that, right? So we can typically look at those energies too, and depending on your date of birth, I've seen in most cases, if that happens all the time, there could be Mars energy, or your Mars is off, or the sun, the energy of the sun's kind of out, your third chakra, right? And so what happens is wearing something like a ruby, wearing a ruby in a gold setting, very powerful. I've seen that all the time, it just picks you right up. But that has to first work with your basic energy. If your root chakra is off, and roots basically abundance, like right? And so we associate gems and crystals with the root chakra. See, in my case, a red color works better because Mars is my energy. For the root chakra, it works there. But in many people, a cat's eye would work better on the root chakra, depending on your number code and things like that. So that's how they work, and then basically we balance the energy, looking inside too, the chakra system, right? We look inside too and see what energy has to be balanced, or how it has to be shifted to correct your vibe and things like that.
Do you believe there's numbers that help with financial prosperity, making money? Like,
yes, absolutely. They are numbers. And then again, they go, I'll give you some examples. I'll tell you there's one number which I have used, pretty often, is the number 14, 14. 14 by itself, or 104, or even 401, right? So whenever Sun and Uranus come together, right? They're always good for quick money. So even in your case, or my case, right? Both of us we have Jupiter on, but I have used an office number, which had this 114 frequency, and I was very successful, right? But the thing is that energy moves very quickly. You understand, it's timed energy. It's like a wheel of fortune. It climbs out, it falls down very quickly. So
a sudden burst.
Yeah, and then the thing is that you have to time it, and you should understand. So it'll pick you up quickly, but then you have to get out. It's like it's like buying a rising stock. Get out and exit strategy out. But if you stay longer in a number like that, it'll drop you down quickly too. So these are things to be understood, right? So yeah, there's some very interesting energy. Then I've also seen the number moon and sun. So 21, 201s, depending upon your codes, also is good for money.
That's my office number, 201.
Oh, it is? Oh, excellent.
Yeah, I'm happy with that one.
Excellent. So you are you in your office right now?
I'm actually at home, but I have an office about a mile from here.
Oh, excellent. Don't leave that place. Hey, very lucky for you.
I'm staying there.
Hey, excellent. I'm so glad to give that to you, report that to you. Excellent. 201, excellent. Always be good. It's like a well full of water for you, and there'll always be success and money there. Always.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. So wonderful.
I want to ask you this. Tell me about cell phone numbers and bank account numbers. How do those influence your fortune?
So it's typically what happens is, cell phone numbers, I'll give you one basic example, right? Mercury, number fives, right? Number fives are very important in phone numbers because, five is Mercury and Mercury is communication, right? So I'd say that for someone like you, or for someone like me, or people who are in the media, or busy people, actors, politicians, right? Or business people, right? You'll always see if there's more Mercury in phone numbers, fives, that'll keep the phone ringing more. The phone will ring more all the time. Okay. Then typically a lot of people love a lot of eights in there, but I mean, numbers are generated, but eights are also good depending on what your code is, right? If you have a lot of Venus energy or a lot of Mercury energy, then the number eight is going to work very well. Right, but with certain numbers, right, the number eight will not work that well, so it's going to go like that. But what happens is we look at the phone number, we look at your date of birth, and we look at the numbers in the phone, and then we'll kind of adjust and see what planets are vibrating, and then go from there. It's a little complicated, but it can be done fairly easily.
How about business names? Like, how does that is that the vibration of the letters? You look at the numbers.
Yes, same thing. For business names, absolutely right. It depends on the kind of the business, right? So I've given some examples in this book about Amazon and big companies. I've talked about big companies. I've had the chance of working with many startups in the Silicon Valley here too, and I'm looking at their numbers and all that. Definitely, business, the name, the title. One quick example was, Jason, if you read this book, somewhere in the book, I've talked about this gentleman, Mark Zuckerberg, and Facebook, right?
I was just about to ask you if they consulted with you to change their name to Meta.
Yeah, that was blunder. That was completely wrong. And this was asked to me just the day he changed this. It's like last month, and I said that was a big mistake,
Well, Facebook's made a few mistakes recently, so I can understand.
Yeah. So, no, that was a big error. But if you look at that carefully, right? I think Mark Zuckerberg is very fond of the number 8. Maybe I think he has the influence of his Chinese wife there, right? And so if you look at Meta, right, carefully, I mean, it totals to the energy of Mercury, which is kind of is not the best. I mean, it's good for him in some ways, but not in a business name. But then if you look, see right under Meta, you'll see a sign, right? It's like a number 8, written this way, right? You see it there, that's how they put it there. And but no, it doesn't. It's just putting an 8 blindly doesn't help. I know that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed the color of this book.
Good question. I like that.
Can you share that? What made you arrive at?
Let me tell that to you. So what happens is the color of this book, wired. See, I have a number 3 like you, and I have Mars energy, right? So now the energy of 3, right, of Jupiter and Venus. So what I did was I picked up more Jupiter energy, was more the crown chakra. See, this color, purple, and this kind of goes up the crown chakra. So I picked that energy up to bring in unlimited opportunities, right? So this book spreads everywhere. So that was one intention. Then you see my picture there. I'm wearing this color, which is Mars energy, and then this color in the middle, this yellowish color, right? This is also the energy of Venus, right? And the year is 2022. So we pushed out this color, this combination in the year 2022.
I love it. I see balance when I look at your cover, and when I look at the information, everything aligns really well.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I could tell you deliberately went about doing it, and you could feel it in the energy of it.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Jason. Absolutely right.
And I love the detail that the little, it looks like stars coming around you.
This gal who put it together she worked for Hay House for a long time, and she used to design covers for Louis Hay.
Oh, wow.
So she was the one. I'm very lucky I worked with her. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you this. What do you find to be the most personal rewarding thing you get to do as an astronumerologist?
I feel very happy helping people. And I've had so many people call me, and they are, they're grateful and they're happy, and I'm so blessed. They've made so much money, and they're successfully connected with their partners. Families have expanded, money has grown, and it's just that feeling of happiness, right? In this book, right in the end, I've given some examples of, my client experiences. And in that one, I've talked about this one young girl, who had come to see me with her mother. And she was so broken up because her friend had jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge. And then she wanted to do the same thing. She wanted to follow her, right? Go behind her, thinking that maybe she might find her someplace, I don't know, wherever. So I remember that they came to see me, and the mother asked me. So I had requested the mother that she wear an emerald around the neck, a green emerald. And then what happened was, sometime later, the mother called me telling me she's one afternoon, she called me panicking. I said, what happened? She said, I was working and my daughter disappeared. She got into a bus straight to Golden Gate Bridge, and she was about to jump off the bridge when the bridge security staff got a hold of her. They caught her, and they got her back. So I asked her, I said, was she wearing the pendant? She said, yeah, she was. That was my first thought. And I was so delighted. And she called me just like a couple of weeks ago, and the daughter now, she's on the spectrum mildly, but she's a swim instructor for autistic kids now. So, but she's alive, she's safe. See,
thank God she's okay.
Yeah, human life is so valuable. So there are many things like that, and good thing. I'm very blessed. I'm very grateful to God that He's given me an opportunity to the sent clients come, people come, and I do my best.
I just say this. How cool is it that we could do this on a Monday afternoon, talk about spirituality, talk about your book, talk about numerology, astronumerology, the synchronicities of numbers. I think it's a gift for us. It's such a treat.
It's kind of rare, Jason. I mean, I think I haven't done Monday afternoons, I do a lot of these radio and podcasting and all that, but Monday afternoon is kind of rare though. That is.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let me ask you about colors, because I know colors are so important in the spectrum of things. And when you look at the healing nature of colors and how we connect to them, how do colors factor in with astronumerology and just in general understanding numbers and their impact in our life?
Colors basically. So what happens is we look at those. We look at the rainbow as well, and we look at with the rainbow, we connect the chakra energy, right? So what they say is basically, if all your chakras are vibrating at a certain frequency, they're aligned or they're functioning well, the light around you is like a rainbow. All the 7 colors shine, and you're very successful, right? I'd say more than 70%, people have colors would work best with, purple color, the color you're wearing, you're wearing a good color that pretty much works with you, and blue would work with you. And then in that vibration, you should avoid the color black. Blacks won't work with, this 369 frequency. And then if you're more like the 1, 2, 4, 7 and that energy too, it goes like more lighter colors, lighter colors. Typically what happens is if you have an 8 date of birth, I can tell you about something, you should stay in more blue, beige, green, off-white, in the 8 Saturn energy. And that is very, very important. If people who have these Saturn date of birth, right, 8, 20, these numbers, and if they start wearing more black or more red, is always block energy. They have unexpected challenges and all kinds of difficulties and problems. I personally, I don't like to wear black either, and I avoid black cars and avoid once in a while, but I avoid these dark colors, because I know they don't work with the auric frequency, and so should you. You shouldn't wear black either, Red will work, but I'd say a little bit red, but not black though. Yeah.
Okay, that's phenomenal. Let me ask you that we're going into Super Bowl soon. And let's say somebody's playing on a team and they're number 32 for their jersey. What's the relevance of the number to someone on a team?
Oh, very important. So what happens is, see that jersey number has to vibrate with the date of birth, right? So it is not just having a 32 and for anyone to, no, it's not going to work like that. See, that energy, I think, worked well with Michael Jordan. I think Michael Jordan had one of those numbers like that, 23 or 32, one of those numbers he had. But the thing was, he had a 17 date of birth. And so in that case, Mercury, which is more 3 and 2 energy, and Saturn, Mercury and Saturn, those energies connect very well together, right? So it all goes depending on your date of birth, how you, how those numbers come in, right? And I mean, it's very prevalent now, sports players and cricket players in India, the jersey numbers, a huge thing, and then I've researched numbers a lot, and I've seen many people here in Canada and many, but like I said, that number has to be in your number code for you to be successful. That's it.
So interesting.
Copy nobody. Don't copy anybody, Yeah.
I think I have an understanding of this. I want to ask this to my audience anyway, though. How can crystals or gems be used for improving numerology for somebody? Okay,
so crystals and gems again. This is more frequencies, more energy. So, like you're sitting down there, and you're surrounded by beautiful crystals, right? And so do I. I love crystals and these energies myself, and I feel really well connected with it. Now, typically, say for example, for someone like you at number 3, right, with your Venus energy, and amethyst is an excellent crystal for you. Amethyst for you would be absolutely fantastic. You're sitting on your desk, go straight up the crown, and it'll open up like that. Huge.
Amethyst.
Oh my God! Look at that.
I got so much crystal here.
Yeah. So that's awesome, right? Amethyst, so like that. So
It was
crystal
the first stone I connected with, by the way. Out of all the stones I started to
perfect. Yeah,
meditate with.
amethyst for you is fantastic. It's fantastic. And then and then the other crystals too, right? I mean, crystal, I'd say definitely some colors and those energies do work with numbers, but then some would generally just connect with you. They'll just you'll know that they are good for you, right? And they'll work for you. Pretty much crystals will also go with gemstones too, because they're crystals too, right? And then coming down to that, so say, for example, if someone tells me to wear a blue sapphire, which is, I'll never wear it because that'll block my energy instantly, right? Or if someone tells you to wear a blue sapphire, I don't want to work with you either, or say someone tells you to wear an emerald. Emerald in your case might work, why? Because you have a wide influence of Venus energy. So it'll work with you. Now, a cat's eye. The cat's eye is a very magical, it's a mysterious stone, right? It suddenly brings in money, right? A lot of business people in Japan and Korea, they wear these cat's eye crystals, right? And that works in the root chakra, the point of abundance. But for you, will it work? No, it's not going to work for you. For me, no, it's not going to work for me either. So it again goes with that little code, right? How it's all set, how your numbers come. And we can, because cat's eye and they come in crystal forms too, right? And most of these stones, right, labradorite and a whole bunch of other crystals, right? I have one labradorite right here, which I use all the time. And so these are, again, and they're all number based. So we just want to stay in our own energy, right? Just use what crystals are best for us. Clear quartz is pretty much a common crystal. But clear quartz, if you see, right, is clear, but clear. The energy of clarity also connects more with. Diamond's clear too. Quartz is clear too. Venus Absolutely. Is clear too. Yeah. So something like that would be great for you. And I use clear quartz as well. So yeah.
I like clear quartz pretty well. I was looking for why you said it.
Yeah.
These are things I use for meditation all the time. So let's say I'm driving in the car and I'm stuck in traffic. I will meditate right on the call. And I'll use gemstones. And so
yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Excellent. Very
good. I gotta ask you this out of personal curiosity. Okay. I'm big on synchronicity, angel numbers. 10, 10, 11, 11, 12, 12, those kind of things, time. What's your opinion on that based on your knowledge of numerology and astronumerology and synchronicity? Like, what do you think that phenomenon is?
I think that's more with your own energy, See, the number 2 works with me really well. 11, ones work with me. So when I see 11, right, it's going to work for me, because for me, it's more like a positive message, right? It's like, something positive is kind of coming, right? Positive 12 against positive. I see those numbers all the time too. But then there's some numbers, right? If those energies are not your code, right, that would also mean that maybe, you need to be cautious. You need to be careful. If you see a lot of eights, or in your case, right? If you see 8, and again, that's a signal for you that just watch and look around and be careful, see what you're thinking, right? So it's like that. Again, it basically goes on your code as well. I remember I give an example one time. There's one gal from here. They have a huge ranch, and the family came to see me. She's watching a certain set of numbers, and each time she watched those numbers, I think I know those. I don't remember the numbers though, but they were matching. No, I think they're somewhere in one of my videos that I talked about them. That code was working for her, and then I told her yes, they do, and she said each time that she saw those numbers, it worked for her. Well, and I was glad to say because they were her code. So those numbers that you see have to be in your frequency, right? They have to work with you. And if it comes showing their faces every time, well, something good is lining up for sure.
I think it's fascinating to hear this stuff because this isn't something you hear on TV. This isn't something you could just, I'd love to have it more widespread. And I hope your book helps to share that. By the way, I see more books on this topic, not just the ones you got. You're going to have more coming in the future. I feel like very strongly in your personal journey. I have to ask you this. So let's say you work with clients, and what kind of progress have you seen an average person make once they're aware of their numbers and vibrations and how everything interplays? Like, have you seen people change up a lot about their life? Like, can you give us an example?
Yeah. Example. I'll just give you one. I mean, very recently I have a bunch of celebrities I talk to, in Bollywood, these movie actors, and they're like all these A-listers. I know quite a few. Just this last week, this one gal, I won't give you her name though, and she called me and she said, hey, just look at my son's energy, and he got a movie last year that did really well. And then so I said, well, February, I said, after the 5th of February, I said after the 5th of Feb, before the 19th, his numbers are really good, and he'll be signing something. So he said, yeah, he's getting ready to sign something. I said, make sure he doesn't sign, before the 9th, and after the 9th. So then she called me and sent me a text saying that, he got the thing and he's just waiting for that date to sign. So it's like that, and those are big projects, right? One signature there would mean, a lot of money in a venture, right? And and then whatever comes from there is huge, right? So that's just one example, but I've had many like that. And I have many, by the grace of God, many prominent people. I had people here in Hollywood, and I see this girl all the time. I remember her name was, I won't give you her name again. I met her in an event one time in Malibu, and then we looked at her numbers and blah, 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 and we did some change, and then suddenly she took off. She's Canadian, tall, beautiful Canadian lady, and now she's all over Hollywood. You see her everywhere. She's more like a love kind of coach, but she's big now. She's a big star now. She's huge. And yeah, very interesting people. There's one celebrity I met again. She's very famous. She won an Academy Award. And then I remember she took my first book. And then later, one day I was looking at some magazine and say, I saw her picture and she sold her house. And I said, oh, well, she read my book and sold her house. And that was very interesting too. Wow. Yeah, all kinds of very interesting people come. Yeah, very interesting people.
What can you tell us about numerology with numbers of presidents in the White House?
Yeah, that's interesting. So the White House is, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. So that energy, right? So 1600 is the energy of Sun and Venus, and zeros twice. So that's amplified energy. So what happens is when Sun and Venus, astrologically, Venus is very close to Sun, right? I mean, it's very close. So and it always feels that effect of Sun. And the Venus is also the hottest planet. It's like a woman, right? I mean, you can never understand a woman, right? So is the planet Venus. It's got many layers in it. Like the year 2022 has the effect of the energy of Venus, right? So because it is so hot, this year is going to be a lot of fire damages, 2020 is going to come with a lot of fire damages, is going to come with earthquakes, and all that's going to happen this year. Besides the wealth, of course, will flow, but this is lined up too. Now, 1600 with Sun and Venus, 2 zeros, it brings in the energy of trickery and deception. It's a very deceptive energy on those numbers. And so what happens is, now for a head of a state, right? For a head of a state, that is not a good address. That is purely based on numerology. Currently, see President Biden. The President Biden's 20th of November, and Kamala Harris, the Vice President, is 20th of November, and they both were sworn on the 20th of January. So all 20s came in, right? So now what happens is 2, and this energy of 1600 does work very well with Moon, which is 2. So it connects with President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris really well. But overall, right, this energy is not a strong energy. So what I had suggested was that if that 6 could be switched to a 9, right? If 6 drops to a 9 this way, and then Sun and Mars twice, right? It brings in some very intense Sun energy. You want the energy of Sun behind the White House, right? Every time, a powerful residence, a place which is really respected. Otherwise, what happens is a weakened Sun, Venus, is you don't get that respect from the world leaders. You know how it is. There's always, it's the strength of that man who's supposed to be the most powerful person in the world, right? It's challenged, it's always threatened, it's like questioned every time, right? And that happens because of the number. I put that 19 there to swing the 6 to a 9. Well, like I read it mentioned in the book too. I mean, a lot of people will find it intriguing, but a lot of people will find it absurd and funny, but that's okay. But the numerologically, that'll be good, I feel very strongly.
And in terms of international relations like Russia and Ukraine right now, how does numerology affect the way nations relate to each other?
Yeah. See, I mean, I wouldn't, I'll just talk about Russia a little bit, the numerology of Russia, right? So what's happening is Russia with numbers, I feel with time, right, gradually, as time moves on, that energy coming into 2023, 2024 is, that energy it's checked and it gets sidetracked. You know how it is? You just kind of push to the side. It's like that. It's like, you go. That's what's lining up. Yeah, it's just sidetracked.
So do you see that as something successful for them and their goals, or do you see them being sidetracked?
No, not successful, no.
That's how I feel too. I don't think they're going to be successful at all. So that aligns.
No, not successful at all.
Let me ask you, how can our audience find you?
They can find me through my website. Or they can just Google my name, Jesse Kalsi, and they'll find me on Google, or they can go to my website, which is jessekalsi.com. It's JESSEKALSI, jessekalsi.com. And then, I can go to my website, and they can, if they like to consult with me, they're most welcome to do that. Or if they can just, read a little bit about what I have there. I mean, they can go through my site, and I keep uploading all my events and, podcasting and videos and things like that. And we go look at this book. This book is available on my website, or or you can go on Amazon as well and pick it up from there if you like to. And but it's one thing very important, Jason. I would request all your all the audience to please understand that this book is not a how-to book, right? So please, please, when you buy this book, please understand that it has a lot of information, right? You learn a lot from it, right? And then you, like every other person, right, you'll have to learn and learn more. But don't expect to read the book and say now I can do everything. No, that's not going to happen. So please keep that in mind. And I don't want to give anybody any wrong information, right? So.
I like to ask this as well. You offer private sessions to members of the
Yes,
audience if they like as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do that. I absolutely would love to consult with people if they want to. They're absolutely welcome. We can set up a time, a consultation, and look at the numbers. Absolutely.
When you look at numbers like 222, like February 2nd, 2022, or February 22nd, 2022, do you see special combinations of vibrational energy in those kind of numbers for dates?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, just like that range of February to. So what happens is, the February has a mind. It has an influence of Uranus, which is number 4, and it also has an influence of Saturn. So up until February the 21st, that energy is ruled by Saturn and Uranus, right? So that air element, right? So now it again goes, so just a number 2 in the month of February. We'll have to look at other things too. We just can't just say, oh, it's good for you. No, I won't say that. It's a little complicated but what will happen is Uranus is, see what happens. Uranus is a number 4, I can tell you. So February has Uranus number 4 and 8. But 2 is in 4. So when moon comes with 4, it is supposed to be very good, right? So if it's the number 2 and it comes with number 4, so 24 is considered to be a very lucky number, 2 and 4. So that energy, I'll definitely agree with what you're saying. What would come up, that positive vibe is already there.
What do you think, if there's someone in the audience, and I'll leave this as one of the last questions, but if there's someone in the audience who's skeptical of numerology or astronumerology, what would you say to them to try to give them some pause to reflect and change their mind?
I would just ask them to research, just to kind of educate themselves, right? I mean, if you just hear me or hear someone else and say, oh, well, we don't believe in this hogwash or whatever, right? I think, that is not the right thing to do. Just do research it a little more, understand the person a little more, go check his reviews and check what the world has to say about him. And then, read it a little bit, read it up. And I mean, there's definitely something there, right? For him to be there for such a long time, Or maybe you never know. I mean, you might learn something, or maybe your life might change, if you're so, something might come to you and it'll just open up a big door, right? And everything will change for you. Not many though. I mean, I have whoever comes to me, they're repeat clients and referrals and things like that, and all happy people, and I'm happy. And then some people suddenly, they feel, oh, we saw you someplace and I saw your video, this gal from London the other day, and we wanted to talk to you, and someone from somewhere. So it also comes like that. And the universe sends people to, just like that better, right? They just connect from someplace mysteriously and just come wanting to talk to you.
I have a deep respect for someone like yourself who lives your passion, who changed careers, went from the military into doing this stuff and writing books about it and touching lives and helping influence people in a positive way. I mean, you can't get better than that. And it's such an honor to share my platform with you today for this interview.
Thank you, Jesse.
I really mean that. And I'm excited to have our audience check out All About Numbers, because I think, like you said, it may not be the instructional thing, but it could be something you learn about and really expose yourself to all these different concepts. And if anyone wants clarification, they can reach out to you directly through your website or book a one-on-one or any of those type of things.
Exactly. You absolutely said it. Yes.
And what was very positive about today is you had a chance to explain directly to us primer, so that now we can go look at your book with a fresh set of lens to look at it from a different point of view than just opening the book from, cold turkey and not being aware of any of this stuff and how they connect and interrelate to what we're looking at.
Exactly. You're right.
I just want to thank Jesse for coming on the show today and sharing his ability to describe astronumerology. It's exciting to have these opportunities for conversations, because one of the things we've learned the last 4 years, going on season 5 right now, is that there's a lot of different ideas, a lot of different things you can look at, and everyone has their own path. And Jesse went from one part of his life into this realm, and I think he's going to have a big impact. And it's just great to have these conversations, because I've always been intrigued by numerology and how it can help better our lives, how it can change our perspective and strengthen how we look at life. gaining an understanding of things. These are all relevant. So check out Jesse's book, All About Numbers, Attract Luck, Abundance, and Joy based on your numbers. The information will be in the show notes. I highly encourage you to check out Jesse's website, jessekalsi.com. And once again, this isn't a how-to book. It's more of a book to give you a broad base of information. And really, if you have an interest in numerology, check it out. That's what this world's all about, is gaining knowledge and experience. I thank you for tuning into this episode. Stay positive, because when you're positive, anything's possible. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Social Psychic Radio Show. Don't forget to join us for another episode next time. If you enjoyed the show, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give us a review on iTunes. You can also check us out on Facebook, and don't forget to visit the Social Psychic YouTube channel. Until next time, it's a big world out there. Keep an open mind, embrace your paradigms, and know that the universe is always yours to explore.